It's Beer O'Clock, and this is the Beer O'Clock Show, where every week we partake in some light-hearted, beer-related banter. My name's Mark, and joining me from one of the many palatial bathrooms in his country manor in Essex is my beer mentor, Steve. G'day, Steve.
Good evening, Mark. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right, thanks, mate. How are you?
Good. I'm good, thanks.
Yeah. Also joining us tonight is the first ever guest we've had in Beer O'Clock Studios, beer reviewer and all-round bloke who knows more than us, Nate. Hi, Nate.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I can assure you probably do. Oh, we've got a special, well, I call it a special beer because I've never had it before to review this week. But before we get to that, Steve, what have you had as far as the Amber Nectar goes in the last week?
Very little, actually. I've had the grand total of 4 pints in the last week, which is a poor showing by anyone's standards. New things that I've tried in the last week. I tried the Otter Brewery Seville Bitter that they've recently put out. Found that in local Wetherspoons. I personally thought it tasted nothing like oranges whatsoever, so I was quite disappointed. The other one I had that was new was an Inferno by Oakham Owls, which I know Nate commented on, I think, on Sunday night when I was drinking it, and that was a pretty stunning beer, that one.
I think I've had that one.
Went down really nicely.
Oakham just very consistently good beers. Love them. I had like a few pints of Green Devil, their IPA at like 6.5% the other night. It goes down so easily. They're a brewery that I've very rarely come across. They're from round this sort of area, aren't they? The east of England, Oakham. Peterborough.
Yeah. I don't seem to be able to find too many of their beers, unfortunately, in my local supermarkets.
Yeah, they're one of our mate Andy's favourite breweries. He gave me a bottle of the Bishop's Finger. Is that one of theirs?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure I've had the Inferno before as well, or else I've just been frightened off by the name. I don't know. What else have you had, Steve?
That was it. I did a ghost ship at the weekend. Like, it's been a quiet week on the beer front for me.
Okay, what about you, Nate? What have you tried in the last week or so that's new for you? A lot. What are the highlights then?
Last Friday I was at Adnams Brewery, and we drank a lot of Adnams beer. A lot of Ghost Ship, too much Ghost Ship as always, but like fresh from the brewery. That was great. Adnams Soul Bay Celebration, which is a big 750ml corked in champagne bottle. It's about 10%. Absolutely amazing. Aside from that, a couple of Avery beers from Colorado in the USA. I literally just finished some crazy sour barrel-aged mentalness, which is very, very, very delicious. I've had a lot of usual, but that really stood out. And then this Stoffel's Imperial Stout was 16%.
Oh.
16%, did you just say? Jeez.
Yeah, it didn't taste it.
Okay, cool. Steve, what's the beery news this week? Do you have any beery news for us?
No.
Beery news. I don't know.
Not much happening then.
No, I've not picked up on anything really.
Nate, do you have anything to report?
Things are a bit quiet at the moment.
Right. Okay, well, let's go into this week's featured beer, which is a Belgian golden ale, which I'm sure everyone has heard of before, called Duvel. So this one's been sitting on the shelves of finer or not supermarkets around the country. It's a bottle condition beer from the Brouwerij Duvel Moordgat in Pers, Belgium. It's an 8.5% ABV and is apparently a masterpiece of Belgian brewing, so endeth my back label research. Steve or Nate, do you have anything to say about the Duvel?
It's a beer that I really love. I've been drinking it quite a lot for years. I mean, like, it's available in Tesco and Sainsbury's, and it's only around the £2 a bottle mark, which is very reasonable for such a strong beer.
Mm-hmm.
And I've recently started doing triple hop versions. With a different hop each year. Last year was the Citra, and that was phenomenal. This year is Sriracha Ace, which I've not got my hands on yet.
Okay, Steve, you've had this before, haven't you?
I've had it once before on what ended up being a very drunken night out. Where I remember coming back from a pub where we had been involved in a bit of a lock-in until about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was with somebody that's less of a drinker than you are, Mark, and he ended up actually crawling on his hands and knees all the way home, because he was that ill on it. That was the last time I drank Duvel. And that's got to be 7 years ago now, 6 or 7 years ago. So this could be interesting tonight.
Cool. Well, let's crack it open and pour it out. I know Nate's he's well ahead of us. So what should I be looking for in this as I'm, doing the tasting? What makes this different from, or not, from other beers? Because with it being a Belgian beer, I'm expecting it to have that kind of European maltiness to it.
It does. I mean, like, Belgian beers, especially at the style of the kind of Belgian golden ale, it's not too hoppy. You do get the hops in around, but not too much in the flavour. Belgian beers is very much more about the yeast than anything else. Like, there's a character we don't talk about too often. Like, everyone talks about the hops, but the yeast is like a very big player. You completely change it. As Mikela recently did with their yeast series. They brewed the same beer but used a different yeast for 6 different beers.
Yeah.
Where it showcases that yeast character. Very much like single hop beers, really.
Okay, I know some of those words. Yeah. Okay, so what you're saying is basically the Belgian beers are more characterised by the different yeasts they use rather than the hops or the malts. Would that be right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Well, it's a lovely light golden colour.
Yep.
Quite fizzy. And a nice thick head on it. We all like a bit of head.
Yeah, I've got a ridiculous head on mine. I've got about a four finger head to
How the hell did you? Even I didn't manage that. And I always.
I've no idea. I think I've selected the wrong style of glass to put it in.
I've got my nice Leffy gobblery glass that I normally give the wife a Coke in.
Yeah, I went for a brandy type glass, which was clearly the wrong selection. So I'll just wait for the head to die down before I try and start drinking it.
Glass uses this. Belgian beers usually a massive head on anyway. So
Okay.
the glass is.
Oh, see, I poured it properly then.
Right. Well, let's get into it.
Let's give it a go.
Give it a go. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Yep, tastes like a European beer to me.
It has got that distinctive European taste to it.
Yeah.
It's very sweet, almost caramelly in that initial flavour. I'm not going to start banging on about Twixes again.
You've got a lot of lemon there as well.
A bit of what, sorry?
Lemon.
Lemon.
Quite a lot of lemon acidity.
Just poured some up my nose. That's always good.
It's got that real rounded, sweet edge to it. Once you've had a sip and it's gone down for a bit, it is very sweet on the aftertaste.
Yeah, and I can get that citrusy feel to it that Nate was talking about as well. So, Nate, what's your experience in the Belgian styles of beers? Because we've only done a couple on the show so far. We've done Leffy. We've done this.
Here in Norwich, we have a bar that only sells Belgian beers called the Belgian Monk.
Okay.
It's got about 12 on tap and 100 different bottles. And I first started going a few years ago. Kind of went from there. So yeah, I've had quite a lot. My favourite Belgian beer is probably Golden Drac 9000 Quadruple, which is 10.5%. And it honestly, it just drinks like lemonade. It's phenomenal.
Right, even at 10%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's got dangerous slammed all over it for me. So it's something you can drink like lemonade at 10%.
Yes. I mean, like, around this time last year, I was volunteering at the Dragon Hall Beer Festival, and I was on the Belgian bar, and we had Golden Drac 9000 on tap, and it's just like, oh yeah, like, I'm volunteering, all this is mine. I was crawling out of there every night.
It's not a bad way to volunteer. To me, this has a nice little hoppy aftertaste.
It does. It's that kind of little bitterness on the end.
Yeah.
It's ever so subtle though, isn't it? It's not doesn't slap you around the face.
No.
No. Absolutely not.
Anything else to add about this, Steve?
It features. It's another one of those beers that features in the good old 300 beers to try before you die book.
Yep.
A few things that I picked out of that was the hops that are used are Czechoslovakian Sars and Styrian Goldings hops are added in 3 stages. Dextrose is added just before the fermentation to boost the level of alcohol. And it produces a rich bouquet of hop resins, pear fruit, and lightly toasted biscuity malt. Fruit and hops dominate the mouth, apparently, before an immensely long, warming finish develops an astonishing array of perfumey hops, rich pear fruit, and juicy malt characteristics. Not getting a lot of that, but by all accounts, a little bit of history around the name as well. Duvel is devil in Flemish. And when it was first brewed, one of the workers apparently cried out, "That's a devil of a beer," and hence the name has already stuck with it.
So they said something like, "Flirty, flirty Duvel beer."
Yeah, something like that. And again, a peach of a quote from the book. To finish off the Duvel is, "The devil is a lucky man. Not only does he have all the best tunes, but he has one of the world's classic beers."
All right. And it comes in a cute little bottle, which people would probably recognise from the supermarket shelves. It's so teeny. Again, it's almost like a Aussie stubby bottle.
Yeah. It certainly doesn't have that 8.5% feel to it.
No.
I think that's probably explains why we were able to drink it until 3 o'clock in the morning in this bar, and then I had to lead my mate home almost on a leash.
That wasn't Anthony, was it?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't Anthony. Wasn't a number 1 fan. No.
Okay. Because that would not surprise me.
I find it quite strange actually that it's a golden beer. And it's under the golden ales section in the book, but I thought it would have been under the Europeans, because there's like a European section as well in there somewhere, I think.
I'm getting to the end of mine, which should be no surprise to anyone already. It's quite bitter towards the end. I'm finding as it's warming up.
It is. And it's so easily available that you could just like drink it all the time, although you probably start all the time.
Yeah. No doubt you would. So, Nate, while we're drinking this, why don't you tell us about your beer blog and how you got involved with that?
I started beer blogging about, well, it was over a year ago now, and I mean, like, I kind of put off doing it for a while. I've been wanting to do it absolutely ages, but I hadn't for some reason or another. I just thought my writing was shit, I suppose. And I still think it is, but other people seem to like it. But yeah, I just take the plunge after reading like beer blogs from people like Pete Brown and Mark Dredge and Zach Avery and Melissa Cole. I just thought, why not do it? And now I've kind of like developed this kind of reputation as this angry beer blogger who swears a lot, loves carbs, and it seems to be going pretty well. I mean, like Booze Beats and Bites, boozebeatsbites.com, really all about music, food, and beer. But Yeah, I love it personally. I think it's just really good fun. I seem to have built up quite a big following. People like what I write, even though a lot of the time I like ranting a lot.
Yeah.
Some people love it, some people don't.
I think what you've got, because I've read some of your stuff, and you've got kind of this no thrills approach to it, and I know we've had a brief exchange on Twitter about that before, haven't we? That you said you don't like to use a load of poncy words to try and describe something when you can just say it in as it is really, and I think sometimes that certainly is more appealing to me in what I'm looking for from a blog is something that gives me it as it is, in as fewer words as possible.
I read a lot of like these beer reviews. People are just like, oh, this beer is like kind of like charcoal, with sugar coated mackerel, and it's just like, just put it out. That sounds like it tastes like shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my often quoted things from last year was saying that this tastes like beer.
Just this is
Maybe it's complex than that, but it's like, come on, give over. You don't know what caramelized charcoal tastes like.
not sure there's many people that do, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they probably have a terrible childhood.
All right. Well, I'm done.
That aroma gets a bit much towards the end. It becomes a little bit sickly sweet, I think, and I think I'm in the same camp as you, Mark. That I'm not a massive fan of the European beers because of that overpowering sweetness that comes with it, and I think that's coming through on the nose as well with that one. Is that you just get that sickly sweet aroma as you're drinking it.
Yeah, I've mentioned this before, but when I first get that, what I've referred to as the European smell, I always go back to those wheat beers that we've had and the vom beers, I want to call them, because they are sickly to me, these wheat beers. I mean, fortunately, these and... Sorry?
What wheat beers? Like German or Belgian?
I can't remember what they were. I think there may have been one. May have been a German one. One may have been a. What's that funny pub we went to on the beer tour, Steve?
Is it the Samuel Smith's pub?
Yeah, they had a wheat beer there that was absolutely sickly. That I found. But I don't know. Going back, I don't know how many episodes of this show you've listened to, Nate, but I'm very much a beer noob. And I've tried my best to educate myself over the last year, but wheat beers unfortunately have lost me. So, Steve, what's your final thoughts on Duvel, mate?
It's all right. It's as I say, for an 8.5% beer, you certainly don't get that from drinking it. Where with some of the other beers that I've drunk that have been up in this sort of territory, you get that booziness that comes with it. Mm-hmm. You don't get that with this. It's an easy enough beer to drink. It's quite smooth. It's quite refreshing actually. Yep. A little bit gassy. Overpowering malts and sweetness coming through. A little bit of linger afterwards. But it's all right. It's an okay beer. It's you wouldn't want too many of them though at 8.5%, would you?
Not really. I can kind of feel it now. It's quite gassy as well.
Yeah, very very gassy. I just
oh my goodness.
So I just found that.
Yeah, and unfortunately we've lost Nate from the call. He was having troubles with the battery on whatever device he was using.
And I think he went halfway through his final swig, which was a shame to see. And he has just way to go though.
Yeah, he has just tweeted saying, "Yo, battery died. Terribly sorry to cut it so short. Cheers though." So we'd like to thank Nate for coming along as our first guest. Unfortunately, he slipped on the stairs outside on his way out of the Beer O'Clock Studios and fell to his death. But the Duvel is a nice beer. I don't think I would have too many of them. It's very full tasting. Again, with that Belgian taste. As Nate explained very kindly to us, it's the yeast that the Belgians use to bring out the different flavours in these beers. And
it's nice to have a real expert on once in a while, isn't it?
But it's nice to know that it's not the malts that are giving it that taste necessarily. It's the yeast that they're using.
Yeah.
I'm still not a fan of the European beers.
I'm with you there. I've got to say, obviously we've tried a Pilsner recently as well, and we didn't give that too much of a thumbs up either. No. I'm not a massive fan of European beers, I've got to say.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I prefer the more flatter taste. Not flatter as in fizz, but flatter as in, I don't know, there's like a spike of taste from these European beers, which is like, I assume the yeastiness coming in, but I prefer to be a bit more flatter on the top end and more depth coming in from the malts and the hops.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, probably more the kind of traditional English style of brewing.
Exactly.
Than the European style. I think I'm with you there on that one.
Yeah. On its own merits, though, it is a very nice beer. It tastes very nice. Very well balanced with the spiciness on the back end and that nice fruitiness, the sweetness coming over the top of the palate. It wasn't disgusting, basically. But
no.
I would give it 3 out of 5 myself.
I would probably, just about scrapes a 3 for me. I think it's a decent enough beer. But like you say, you'd question if you were in a supermarket, you're like, oh, Duvel, 8.5%, oh, Ghost Ship, 4.5%, and it tastes so much better.
Yeah.
I know which one's going to win for me every time.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just going in for what can I drink and enjoy over a weekend, obviously these kind of beers, I want to say there's more. You need more of a budget, not just monetarily, but in palate and in being able to consume that much ABV in such a small, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
you get more bang for your buck out of a 4%er, I think.
I think so.
Yeah.
Although I do think before his battery died, I think Nate had another one lined up. So I think the first one was just a bit of a warm up for him, and he was about to destroy a second bottle of it.
Well, best of luck to you, Nate. Thanks very much for coming on. What's Nate's website?
boozebeatsbites.com.
Okay.
Or bitesbeatsbooze.com. It's he did mention it earlier. What we'll do, we'll make sure when we put out our series of tweets about it, about the show at the weekend, we'll put out one that specifically refers the listeners to Nate's website. It's like I say, it's an enjoyable read. So some of the things he's reviewed on there, some of the things he's done have been quite interesting.
It is boozebeatsbites.com.
Boozebeatsbites.com.
As Nate said, it's all about beer, music, and food, which is a bloody good combination.
Yeah, that's win as far as I'm concerned. I would recommend that people, if you do check out his site, check out the review where he mixed the Innocent Gun Lager with Tesco Value Lager in the same pint glass, and gave that a review, and was so unimpressed with it he then started adding tropical fruit juice to it to try and make it taste better. That's quite an entertaining read.
Cool. He's quite the character. Okay, so let's wrap this one up. We don't have a clip from Ant-Man #1 fan for the end because we had Nate in this week. Unfortunately, as we said, he was having to record on a tablet and the tablet battery ran out, which is unfortunate. But we hope to have him back again sometime soon. If you'd like to be on the show, drop us a line. We're happy to have listeners in. You don't have to be a beer expert. You can be as nooberific as me. If you just want to have a drink on air with us. You have to buy your own beer, unfortunately. Sorry, we don't have the budget for that.
We don't supply the beer just yet.
You can find us on Twitter at Beer O'Clock Show. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Beer O'Clock Show. And of course, the website is beeroclockshow.co.uk. You can email us at beeroclockshow@gmail.com. Find us on iTunes. Give us a rating, please. Give us a review. And if you're listening on Stitcher, give us a thumbs up because it really helps with our rating. Steve, thank you very much, as always, mate.
It's been an absolute pleasure tonight. I've enjoyed another trip into Europe. I believe we have at least one more of those planned this season.
Mm-hmm.
So probably get another combination of us going, well, it's another European beer. It's got that taste, it's got that flavour, it's all malt, it's all yeast, it's too sweet.
Yeah, we can say it's the yeast this time, though. We actually know.
Yeah, so you can look forward to our third trip into Europe in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, after a year, we've actually learned something. That's fantastic.
Yeah, brilliant.
Cool. Okay. Join us next week for a beer as yet to be determined, but might be chocolatey.
And doubly
chocolatey.
Possibly stouty.
Thanks as always. Enjoy your beer o'clock. Have a good weekend. Cheers.
Bye-bye.